Hi again, I'm Jessie Everts. I'm Vice President of Clinical Programs for Wayside, and we're going to be doing training on client rights today. So this is, again, another required training. All licensed agencies are required to do training on client rights every 2 years for employees. So we're going to be talking about a couple different statutes that protect rights for our clients. They're protected by several different laws here. So the first is Statute 144.651, and that's the Healthcare Bill of Rights that protects clients who are in a healthcare facility, those that are residents of a healthcare facility, so that is specific to our residential clients. And then Statute 253B.03 is the rights of patients, and that's the rights of patients in any healthcare agency, and they're very similar. So I'm combining them here for you now, but just know that there are two separate statutes that are protective of rights of patients for most of our clients. So these are rights of clients are both protections for clients, but also requirements that we are sharing some information with clients so that they're in the know and understanding of the treatment that they're providing. So the first one is that clients have the right to be informed of their rights upon admission. So all of our clients upon admission are given a copy of the client rights so that they are aware of those, and they're also posted publicly in our treatment centers so that they can reference them at any time. They need to be aware of the rights that they do have. The second is to receive courteous and respectful treatment. Third is to receive the appropriate medical and personal care based on their individual needs, meaning that we're required to do an assessment that's really of their needs, their personal needs, rather than just giving everyone the same treatment. That we need to be showing that we're giving appropriate medical and personal care based on that person's individual needs. Number 4 is to know they have the right to know who's responsible for their care while they're in treatment, and you'll notice in our treatment centers that we have posted publicly in front offices or in our operating procedures binders who the treatment director is at that site, and also the counselors have on their doors a summary of the client rights and also the counselor's name and license number, so that we're letting clients know who is responsible for their care while they're in treatment. Number 5, the clients have the right to know what services might be provided to them by providers outside of Wayside. So if we're bringing someone else in, they have the right to know that whether or not someone is an employee of Wayside or not, if they're an outside provider. Number 6, they have the right to complete information about their diagnoses, treatment, alternatives, risks, and prognosis. Again, any kind of information about their client file is their right to access if they want to. Number 7, the clients have the right to participate in their treatment planning and to include family members in their care. We can never stop them from participating in their treatment planning or stop them from including family members in their care, except in a few specific circumstances, which we'll talk about. 8, the clients have the right to be cared for with regularity and continuity of staff assignment, meaning we're not shifting who their counselor or who their treatment director is on a regular basis, but that they have basically the same staff assignment unless they're notified otherwise. 9, they have the right to refuse care and to be informed of the risks of refusing care. We're not a locked facility, so clients can leave at any time and can decide that they don't want to participate in treatment. That's always their right, and in that case, we would inform them of the risks of doing that. Number 10, they have the right to give informed consent to any experimental research or to refuse participation at any time. So they're asked upon intake, and then also if any new research projects are started while they're a client in our treatment centers, if they would allow their data to be used or their information to be used in that research, and they always have the right to refuse if they want to. Number 11, clients have the right to be free from maltreatment and restraint, and that's physical restraint or chemical restraint, which I believe is detailed a little bit later on, meaning that we don't use any kind of holds or physical kind of equipment to restrain clients here, and we also don't use medications or chemicals to restrain our clients. Number 12, clients have the right to respectfulness and privacy in their care, and they have the right to know that we're keeping their records confidential and private based on HIPAA and confidentiality laws. That gets into number 13. They have the right to be assured that their personal and medical records will be kept confidential and to authorize release to anyone outside the agency. That's a right that they have. Number 14, clients have the right to be informed of the rates and payment we receive for their treatment. So if they should ask, we would need to disclose that information to them. And again, in our counselors' offices, the sign that's on the back of the counselors' doors has that basic information about the daily rates that we receive for residential or the rate that we're paid for groups in outpatient, so that clients can access that anytime. Number 15, the clients have the right to a prompt and reasonable response to their questions and requests. So we can't just deny clients the right to give feedback or to ask questions, and we would need to respond to that in a reasonable timeline. Number 16, clients have the right to consideration of their privacy, individuality, and cultural identity. And specifically around their privacy, we ask that staff knock on clients' doors and seek consent before opening except in emergency situations. So that's just a respect for clients' privacy, that they reside on our property. Clients have the right, number 17, to voice grievances and to recommend changes in policies and services. So there's a grievance procedure that they're aware of from ADMIT, and there's a form available to them anytime if they want to make a grievance against staff, and we cannot stop them from doing that if they would like to. And we also have ways and avenues for them to recommend changes if they want to. Number 18, clients have the right to communicate privately with people of their choice, except when it's in violation of our program abuse prevention plan, which is around maltreatment and mandated reporting. So if we feel that there's reason to believe that someone is not safe for that client to communicate with, that is a situation where we could limit their right to communicate privately with that person. And in general, they have the right to communicate privately with people of their choice. Number 19, clients have the right to retain and use their personal clothing and possessions, or to have them stored in a locked storage area provided by Wayside. So we don't take their personal clothing and possessions when they come here. If they have something that's a restricted item that they're not allowed to use or access while they're at Wayside, we take responsibility for storage of that item. And we have to have a storage facility for their belongings if they would like to store them as well. Number 20, clients have the right not to provide labor or services for the agency. And I usually get a question here around the jobs that they do while they're on site at the residential facilities. And it would be unethical and against client rights for us to require them to do those jobs in order to receive treatment. And so that's not the case, that they're asked to do a job or kind of maintain things around the house, and that's not providing labor or services for the agency in exchange for treatment. Number 21, clients have the right to purchase or rent goods from the supplier of their choice, meaning if they really want to buy something from a certain provider or agency or store, that we wouldn't be able to stop them from doing so. Number 22, they have the right to manage their own financial affairs. And again, they may have a financial payee or some sort of representative that manages their financial affairs. The point here is that Wayside does not manage financial affairs for clients, that's their right to manage or to have someone manage for them. Number 23, clients have the right to meet with and receive visitors, and they have the right to participate in cultural and community groups. So again, if there's reason to believe that someone's not safe for them to have visits with, that would be, we would want to reference our program abuse prevention plan and our mandated reporting rules around any limitations we put on that. And in general, the right to have visitors and to participate in community groups is a right that is given to clients. Number 24, the clients have the rights to organize, maintain, and participate in a resident advisory or family council if they should choose to form some kind of group like that. Wayside would need to provide space and privacy for those councils to meet if requested and must respond to recommendations. So if we ever had clients who wanted to form an advisory council, we would need to give them time and space to meet and then hear their concerns or questions. Number 25, clients have the right to have visits with spouses, specifically, that's specified as a right. And again, if there's an abusive relationship, we would need to consult our mandated reporting rules, and we may place limitations on that, but that's a specific right that clients are given. Number 26, clients have the right to not be arbitrarily transferred or discharged from treatment. There are a lot of guidelines that our licensure has around what information we need to give clients if they're going to be discharged from treatment or transferred from our care. So we are often having lots of conversations with them if that's the plan. And if there needs to be an emergency discharge, that's the one case in which we would not necessarily need to do some preparation work, and still, it can't be an arbitrary transfer or discharge from treatment. Number 27, the clients have the right to access rights protection and advocacy services at any reasonable time. 28, they have the right to be free from isolation and physical restraint. And then 29, they have the right to a written treatment plan, and they have the right to have a copy of that treatment plan, which we'd give them each week. So those are the rights of healthcare clients. There's another set of rules that pertains to clients who are receiving alcohol and drug counseling services specifically, and that's covered under what's called the Client Bill of Rights, which is, again, summarized on our counselor door signs, and clients have access to this Bill of Rights as well. So this is more around the counseling services that they're provided rather than the healthcare services that they're provided. So consumers of alcohol and drug counseling services, or clients, as we reference them, they have the right, one, to expect that the provider meets the minimum qualifications of training and experience required by state law. And again, we're sharing with them if they request, or if it's always posted about the qualifications of their counselor and the counseling staff at Wayside. And they have the right to expect that that person has passed whatever licensure exams are required, and that they're providing services within the scope that they're licensed. 2, clients have the right to examine public records maintained by the Board of Behavioral Health and Therapy that contain the credentials of their provider. So they can look, the Board of Behavioral Health and Therapy is the licensor of most alcohol and drug counselors, as well as some other types of therapists and counselors, and that's a public record that clients or anyone can access about the public records of any individual provider there. Clients have the right, number 3, to report complaints to the Board of Behavioral Health and Therapy if they want to. There's a grievance or complaint procedure that they can absolutely follow, and we would not stop them from doing that if they would like to. Number 4, they have the right to be informed of the cost of professional services before receiving them. And again, those costs are posted, but also if the client asks for more information, we can always get that for them and should get that for them. They have the right to privacy as defined and limited by law and rule. Again, they have the right to expect that we're following HIPAA and we're following the confidentiality rules that you've been trained on in other videos. Number 6, clients have the right to be free from being the object of unlawful discrimination while receiving counseling services. Number 7, they have access to their records. Number 8, they have the right to be free from exploitation for the benefit or advantage of the provider. Number 9, they have the right to terminate services at any time except as otherwise provided by law or court order. So if they may be committed by court to finish treatment services and we still would not keep them here against their will, they would have the right to transfer to another facility if they would like to. And again, they have the right to choose to terminate services at any time. Number 10, they have the right to know the intended recipients of assessment results, and I broaden this to any protected health information, that they have a right to know who that information is being shared with outside of Wayside. Number 11, they have the right to withdraw consent to release assessment results unless that right is prohibited by law or court order or was waived by a written agreement previously. So this is often about sharing documents with the court or legal system, and we have to allow them to withdraw any consent that they have given around releasing those results. And except in those specific situations. Number 12, the client has a right to a non-technical description of assessment procedures. They have a right to be explained what's going to happen, what kind of testing is done here, what kind of assessments are being done, and who that's going to be shared with. Number 13, they have a right to a non-technical explanation and interpretation of assessment results unless this right is prohibited by law or court order or was waived again. So in general, this means that they're allowed to be described what kind of assessment results they've gotten. So they need to know sort of what the results of those testing pieces were. So those are the main, those are all the client rights that apply to our clients in our various settings. And if you have any questions about those, please always feel free to ask me or your supervisor, and we can talk about those again. And again, those are always publicly available to both you and the clients. Thank you.